AI is changing the game for traders. Here's what you need to know. By the end of 2025, over 40% of trading decisions could involve AI. Let me show you how to stay ahead of the trading curve. At the end of the day, there's so much data out there, okay? Like I think about when I got started trading 20 years ago, it's the early 2000s, a lot of data, okay? There was a lot to read and interpret and look at, but it's completely different now. I mean, as you've seen, the explosion of markets and like crypto coming, there's so many indicators, data, SEC filings, earnings reports, press releases. Like I think back to when I got started, like a Money Monday, we like to call it Money Monday because that's like the busiest days for press releases. Back when I got started, there'd be like a few hundred. Now, an average like Thursday or Friday, not even a busy day, there's thousands of press releases. There's so many active stocks in all price ranges. So like you're just constantly getting inundated with so much information, which is great. I mean, it kind of sounds like I'm complaining. I want more data. Like if I'm risking money, I want access to as much data as possible to increase my confidence in that trade position or in that trade idea. If it starts going against me, I can look at my data and be like, okay, hey, the fundamentals are really strong, chart's strong, and not, kind of panic sell on any downtick. And then when the stock starts going in my favor, I can use that confidence. Vice versa. Let's say I'm day trading some sketchy penny stock and I'm looking at the filings. I'm like, hey, these guys are starving for cash. They got a shelf registration out there. There's a very good chance they're going to dilute. Now that stock, talk about cutting quick, okay? Like if you're holding a stock with strong fundamentals and it reverses a little bit, you're like, oh, I'm just going to kind of chill out, wait until the afternoon, see if it can start to trend back. Penny stock with an active filing registration, it's like that thing downticks 1 cent, I'm out because it's not worth the risk and reward. So it's a double-edged sword like many things. More data better, but how do you interpret all that data without spending hours and hours and hours and hours a day? Like if especially if you're new, you're sitting there reading a filing, then a balance sheet, and then you move on to the earnings statement. I mean, it's just all this boring, monotonous, time-consuming work. And flat out, I'm a full-time trader, okay? I sold my business over a decade to go into full-time trading, but I know what it was like to be a part-time trader. From 2006 to about 2013, I traded part-time, and I know that one of my biggest impediments was just time. It wasn't that I couldn't identify a good chart. It wasn't that I couldn't, run a scan. It was just like I'd get to the point where it's like 10, 11 a.m., and I'm like, I missed all these moves. So data's good, but there's a downside. Now, one of the things I've done to really help you with this is I've started to use AI tools to massively cut that time to process all this information. Now, I'm old, okay? Everybody knows I'm really old, but I started a technology company 2 years out of high school, way back in 1994, started an internet company. And even before that, even in elementary school in the 80s, I was kind of like the IT guy, just because I knew how to hook up an Apple II, okay, with a printer. They made me the IT guy and drove me around all the schools to hook up Apple IIs. But the point is, I've got a lifelong interest in technology as well as trading. And because of that, I'm always looking for ways to harness technology. Many of you might be familiar with Oracle or StocksToTrade or the Advanced Float Rotation Calculator or Flux Algo or all these tools that I've created to use technology to solve the trading problems. So now, if you think about like why was the computer invented? Again, I'm an old guy. You think back to like the 40s and 50s. The reason they invented the first computer was to do boring, monotonous, routine tasks with high accuracy, okay? So if you're thinking about before the 40s and 50s and you got to add up, a row of 1,000 numbers, let's say, just add them up on an adding machine. Well, you can do that, but it's time consuming. And then what's the first thing you do? And I know I'm dating myself with an adding machine. Some are probably like, what is that? But you add up all that 1,000 numbers. What's the first thing you have to do? you have to do it again, right? Because you don't know if you miskeyed something. So, basically double data entry accounting is what it is. So you go through and you add up those 1,000 numbers again. If you get the right number, then you're like, okay, I feel like, boss, here's the report. The report is right. But what happens if you get the wrong number? Okay, in the first example, you get 5,001. In the second example, you get 5,037. Now what? You got to do it again, right? Because you got to go through again and see if you can get the same answer again. And what happens if the third time you get a different answer, okay? And I know I'm kind of beating this to death, but you think about a computer, it's right every time, right? You feed it 1,000 numbers. Back then it would have been a punch card, and it adds them all up, and you're done. You're not repeating. Minimum of once you have to repeat, maybe 3 or 4 times if you keep getting wrong answers. So that's why when AI really hit the mainstream about 2 years ago, and ChatGPT and mainstream use of it. Obviously, AI's been around for decades, but where it was accessible to normal everyday people. As soon as I saw AI, easy to use, right in a browser or on an app, I'm like, this is perfect for trading, because now it can read all of that information way faster than I can. Like, it's going to take me an hour to read an SEC filing as a human. Thanks to LLMs and AI, it can do it in, a billionth of a second or something. It can look at earnings statements. It can actually do technical analysis, looking for support and resistance levels, and doesn't guarantee that it's right with a trading decision, because markets are based on humans, okay? When people are buying and selling and there's euphoria, you still have to have stop losses and a trade plan. But the great thing about harnessing AI in your trading is you can cut that time down massively, increase your odds of success, and you can do it hundreds of times a day. Like, you can just use AI to make these decisions. So it's a massive time saver. Going back to when I was a part-time trader, there were just days I was like, you know what? I don't have time to do this for 2 to 3 hours. Like, I just don't have the time. Guess I'm not trading today. Now, thanks to AI, you can do it in seconds. And then the second thing that's amazing is reducing emotional biases. Okay. At the end of, we all know we're all humans, right? Humans are uniquely adaptable. Okay. That's one of the things that makes humans great. But because we're infinitely adaptable, you can kind of talk yourselves into anything, right? Many of you might have been in a losing trade, and you can start making those justifications and making those arguments, and you end up talking yourself into holding a losing trade because you're like, oh, I see this and I see this and I see this. And the next thing you know, it collapses again. And if you wouldn't have talked yourself into that, you would have cut it and you wouldn't have lost another 20, 30, 40, 50%. So what's great about AI is it removes a lot of that emotion because it's just looking at data. Now you have to follow it. You have to follow the trade plan that it gives you, but you can actually do that and save massive amounts of time. So that being said, you might be wondering, what is this thing? Okay. So the tool is called Iris. Okay. And it took me 9 months to train this thing. So it's kind of an interesting story if you're a nerd like me. We started, when large language models kind of first hit mainstream, I started actually recording this process. My team would then take that recording of me going through this routine, repetitive, monotonous work, speech to text it, and feed it into the large language model. So in the beginning, really clunky, but did this for 9 months, just kind of repeating it every day. And just a few months in, it was like, whoa, this thing's getting interesting. And by month 9, it basically came up with the exact results that I came up with following this trading strategy that I started using almost a decade ago for swing trading. So now the great thing is it gives great traded ideas, gives you entries, exits, stop losses, and goals, reads SEC filings, reads earnings statements, does technical analysis. I know a lot of you guys are struggling with technical analysis, does it all for you, gives you a defined trade plan, and then you just follow the plan. Now, Iris is amazing. It's an absolute game changer. I use it every day. I want to be clear, doesn't guarantee a win, but think about the fact of not burning hours, and then you just follow the plan. That's all you have to do. If the trade hits the stop, you stop out. All your decisions are made for you. If you enter the trade and it goes in your favor, it also gives you a profit target. So massively removes human mistakes. Remember the adding machine? Massively cuts time. And my favorite part is it removes the emotion because you just follow the plan. So if that sounds attractive to you guys, definitely check out Iris. We'll link it below. You'll get a link to a longer video getting into the nitty-gritty, like exactly how it does it, the way it works, showing some examples. Usually on those webinars, I actually we use the AI together and I give out a free trade idea from the AI. So definitely check it out. Super cool. And let me know in the comments, do you think AI can help your trading? And definitely check out Iris.